Hi, I'm Jackie. I'm a science communicator with CSIRO Petroleum. To start with, I was planning to have a career in science, but once I realised that science communication was a career possibility, there was no turning back. I just realised that sitting in a lab looking down a microscope was not the job for me. I ended up being quite good at science at school and moved into doing a science degree at UWA. And there I completed a double major in biochemistry and microbiology. And after I finished uni, I decided to take a year off before I went back and did my honours and started working at SciTech. We had a big red bus that we used to travel all across the state and deliver science shows to kids out in regional and rural areas, which was great fun. Everyone was really enthusiastic about science and about educating and inspiring the public of Western Australia to get into science. Hi Richard, how are you going?
Jackie, how's it going? Come in, come in.
What are you up to today?
Oh, just the usual. Having a look at some rocks under the microscope.
What are these bits here?
Well, these are quartz grains. You can see here.
CSIRO is obviously a really big research organisation. There's about 6,500 staff. Our scientists are really busy people and communications isn't going to be at the top of their priority list, but we still want to communicate their work. We're writing this brochure, the fluid history analysis, which is the research that you guys are doing so that we can use it for business development and getting new clients. What kind of benefits are they going to get out of using your services or using the fluid inclusions analysis? When
they drill an exploration well, sometimes $50 million,
yeah.
If they only find water, they need to really work out the reasons why they need to do that.
Right. It's important for me to show them that I'm there to support them and to help them out in any way that I can to get the messages across. Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's amazing.
So have a go at that.
It's pretty dark, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty thick and gooey stuff.
I really hated writing essays at school. It was just the worst thing in the world. So I thought if I did a science degree, I'd be, not having to write essays and exams. And here I am spending 50% of my time writing. So it's funny how the tables have turned. But now that I'm writing something that I'm interested in, it actually seems like a much easier task and a much more enjoyable task as well. It is a lot of work. It can take hours and hours and days of work, and I've actually just been working on a CSIRO submission about CSIRO's involvement in the Esperance lead case. Kind of have to be a little bit like a forensic examiner, I guess, go around and find all the information and the evidence, talk to the scientists and the managers, also talking to the legal team as well. Even though it's only a couple of pages, this probably took 2 or 3 weeks to put together. Yeah, hard work.
What we'll do is we'll set your laptop up here.
Okay.
I'll show you how that works. We'll get that organised.
All right.
I think once you fire up...
This just takes a little while. It's going to be a challenge not to trip over it, knowing my track record. I was recently asked to go and give a guest lecture at the UWA Science Communication course, sharing some of the tips that I've learned along the way about communicating science. How I got where I am. One of the challenges is that a lot of scientists don't really want to communicate their work. So one of the things that we need to do is talk to them about how valuable their work is and how important it is to communicate it. People are really interested in what's going on with energy, particularly carbon dioxide sequestration, peak oil, when is our oil going to run out, and it is a very complex industry.
So this was some more back in the environmental, looking at reclamation of mine tailings again and how the soils develop.
Yeah, no, I know. You can't see that, but I can imagine it's a take above the ground, usually by aircraft.
Hey, Jackie. Nice to meet you. Yeah, thanks for coming along tonight. How's it going well? Yeah. Well, tonight we have an open night for the Australian Resources Research Centre, so we're opening our doors to science teachers. Hopefully come along and learn something and take the inspiration and enthusiasm back to the classroom.
Running this over, and
Hello. How you guys going?
Oh, well, thanks.
Hi, Jackie. Oh, we're back at the slime. What do you had to go with us?
What's slime got to do with minerals?
We've made up a story that it's from outer space and that it's in its cryogenic storage, but in actual fact it's slime with iron filings, and it's something you could do quite easily in the classroom. All you need is a very strong magnet, and as you can see, it's alive.
I do really enjoy organising events. They are a lot of work, but you always get to see the rewards paid off when the event comes together, and it's just fun. It's just a great thing, and at the end of the night you can say, what a good success, and move on to the next one. Even though it is a pretty tough job sometimes and there's always something to do, I think that I kind of soak up the energy from around me when I'm talking to scientists and they're telling me about the great things that they're doing, or when I'm organising an exciting event or speaking to the media. I do try and feed off that energy as well, and I just really love what I do. You know, there's always so many fascinating things that I'm learning every day, new stuff that I'm learning that makes me just think, wow, this is great, it's a great job.